Welcome back. A 20-year-old Pakistani man living in Canada was arrested while trying to cross the U.S.-Canada border. He's being accused of a terrorist plot, which was involved the murder of many Jews in New York as possible. This was around October 7th. Is this another indicator that we need to control these borders? And how did he get into Canada as well? That is another big question. Let's bring in the host of the Charbonne Report, Michael Charbonne. Appreciate you coming on. What can you tell us about this potential terror attack in the making, and what tipped off the Canadian authorities?
Well, as you said, John, he was a 20-year Pakistani national. He was charged with attempting to plot to supply material support and resources to a designated foreign terrorist organization, specifically ISIS. He intended to cross illegally to the U.S., assisted by a smuggler, and it was alleged that he was going to travel to Brooklyn, New York, to kill Hasidic Jews at a Jewish center on November 7th. U.S. Justice Department said that he announced to his supporters his support to ISIS over a 9-month surveillance project. He contacted many U.S. conspirators and urging them to get rifles, ammunition, large knives to slit throats and slaughter Jews. Thankfully, his U.S. conspirators were actually FBI agents. But if you imagine, this was all encrypted communications. He was arrested in Ormiston, Quebec, which is just about 20 miles south of Montreal, near the Roxham Road crossing on the Quebec-New York state border. Embarrassingly, John, this is the second of such an arrest of a foreign Canadian plotting to kill on behalf of ISIS. If you recall, in July, there was a father and son who were arrested in Toronto pledging to kill Canadians. And this brings up this poor screening that Canadians have and the jeopardy of the northern border to America. And if you consider, John, finally on this point, that Trudeau is talking about bringing in 5,000 Gazan refugees, this is a serious problem. And this is something that will eventually become an election issue. And I mean, even Senator Rubio pointed this out. So this is some serious stuff that's going on. And thank goodness for your U.S. Justice Department, John.
Absolutely. And what do Canadians think of this? If these terrorists are slipping in through the Canadian border and trying to get down to the United States to commit these crimes, how are Canadians perceiving Trudeau if he's in charge of all of this?
Well, his immigration policy is something that's always been in great contention. We have too many people on student visas and too many people who have not been vetted properly. We have, you've got to understand, the Liberals are very much interested, very much like the Democrats, in bringing foreigners in to support their freedom to come and live with us. Yeah. Whereas the problem is we have national health care, and Canadians are not in on this, and there's some great concern, hence why there's a potential for an election coming up, John.
Absolutely. I had a Canadian friend in visiting. He was giving me the whole rundown here on what's going on up there. In fact, Trudeau now, he says he's going to impose 100% tariff on Chinese-made electric vehicles. It is happening after the Biden-Harris administration. They made a similar move. What impact will this have on Canada? Is this a way to drive more money to the country? And will it work? Or, I mean, EVs, a lot of people don't love these cars to begin with.
John, consider all the stuff that went on about TikTok, about saying that having Chinese-controlled data and personal habits, and consider that they've got control. Realize that with these EVs, you have live real-time video and GPS that they are able to aggregate from these Chinese EVs. This is a serious security concern. Imagine these EV cars going around critical military installations or infrastructure, evaluating traffic flow, and downloading all of this viewable by the Chinese. And think about them controlling a whole fleet of EV cars. This is chaos. This is wrong. You're correct. The United States government in 2022 put a 25% tariff on EVs, and in 2024, 100%. Canada is now imposing 100% tax on the EVs, and the European Union is looking to do exactly the same thing. Sorry. I mean, this is a serious situation because they have control, and I think there is some light being shed on this. Not to mention the fact that they're trying to flood the market with these cheap cars.
Is there pushback? I mean, are Canadians aware of all of this? And are they pushing back against it?
So there's a two-sided point to this. We've invested billions of dollars in battery plants that are being constructed and getting tax credits and Canadian government money to get these battery plants up and going. And there has been some question to the Chinese influence on our Canadian elections with the Liberal government. So there's a lot of hair on the tennis ball, if you wish, to use a phrase. So there are some people that are concerned. I think the most important thing is Chinese being able to have control of video, etc.
Right. We have to leave it there. Michael Chabon, always a pleasure. I love having you on. We'll see you again next Sunday. That's going to do it for us. Sunday Agenda with Lydia Serrane starts right now.